Hey everyone, I hope you're having a wonderful December so far and staying warm. Today I'm going to show you how to paint 3 different Christmas tree cards. They're great for the complete beginner in watercolors, and since these cards are super fast and easy, they won't take much time to complete and paint as the holidays will continue to get busier and stressful. The first card I'm going to paint here will be 3 pine trees you'd see in the wilderness. No decorations and nothing fancy, just something soft and peaceful. You can of course customize it however you want, but that's the kind of painting I want today. First, I'm holding the paper down with washi tape to keep it from buckling because we will be using a lot more water than my other videos. You can also use masking or painter's tape, but I'm using washi tape because that's what I have on hand. Once you have your paper held down, wet your paper with your brush in a sweeping motion, getting wider as you do so. Another way to think of this is to imagine a triangle and paint the general shape. It doesn't have to be perfect since we're putting down 2 more triangles. For these trees, you can use any color you want. I'm using a combination of Verde green, phthalo blue, and Maya dark blue. Feel free to have fun and put any colors you want. The great thing about the wet and wet technique is that you don't have to worry about control because the water is doing all of that for you. Don't forget to lay down your shadows. Because our trees are more realistic, adding shadows at the bottom will help ground everything. This is optional, but it does help keep the trees from looking like they're floating in space. Once you're happy with the tree shapes, we can let this one dry while we move on to the next tree to make for our Christmas holiday cards. So I'm going to cheat a bit here and leave the first one where it is while I work on the second one. I didn't want to remove the tape since it was already taped flat and I didn't have anywhere else to put it, so this worked just fine. For our second one, you want to take a wet, clean brush and once again, imagine a triangle. You can draw a triangle before beginning to help you if you want, but instead of filling it all in like before, you want to sweep in broad, angled downward strokes. And while it's wet, lay down the colors you want. I'm going to create a colorful rainbow of sorts for this tree. Since I'm using hot pressed paper, which has a tendency to dry faster in my experience, I'm just making sure there's enough water on the paper for all the colors to softly merge and blend together. So that's why I'm going over it with water one more time just to make sure it is ready to accept color. Like with everything else on my channel, you can use whatever color you want. But for those of you who want to do something similar to mine, don't be frustrated if your reds and blues don't exactly make the purple you want. The reason why has more to do with mixing paint and color theory, and it's a huge topic that I cannot discuss for this segment of the video. But there are quite a few YouTube videos out there, so I recommend you look into it if your purples, oranges, and greens aren't coming out exactly as vibrant as you want them. And of course, if that's something you're interested in, let me know in the comments below and we can geek out about it or something. Otherwise, sit back and relax as you watch the colors flow and blend together on this paper. It's just so beautiful and a pleasure to watch, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I did painting it. Alright, now that we're done with that tree, let's go back to our first painting here. It should be dry by now and ready for the second layer of our watercolors. To make the branches, take some of the color on your brush, and what you want to do is press and flick in a downward angle stroke. Press and flick, press and flick. It's the same for the other side as well. If you don't feel confident and you are afraid you might ruin your hard work, you can also practice on a scratch paper before you go back to your painting. You'll want to do a few layers of this until you feel the tree comes alive. If you feel your trees all look a bit boring or the same and nothing really stands out, you can do two things. The first is to add more trees beyond those three. This can be achieved by using a lighter shade of green or blue to give a feeling of distance and depth. It might be hard for you to see my distant trees in the video right here, but those trees are there. Then choose the tree closest to you, the viewer, and make that one darker than the rest. Now you have a painting. I wrote peace and love with a bigger brush on the card. Not the prettiest lettering, but I'm just using what I have on hand and I got the job done, so I'm pretty happy with that. If you have good lettering skills, by all means, go crazy and show me what you did below. I would love to see it. Now that I'm happy with the way this painting turned out and it's almost dried, I'm taking the washi tape off so that I can go back to the second tree. I want to finish this off with a gold accent, which I think will really make the painting pop more. For the second tree, I am using gold paint from Ecoline, and I start by painting in a star at the top. Then, to add interest and focus to the tree, I am painting in a single gold strand here. I'm not exactly following the painting below, but I don't want to go opposite of it either. For me, it's more of a loose guideline. And then I went over it a few more times to thicken and make the gold more opaque. Alright, once I am happy with the tree and how it looks, I write down my holiday message. And then I move on to the third and final tree of this video. I'm writing this in the same gold paint from Ecoline, and I'm just writing down "Be Jolly." You can write whatever you want down. This third one has a lot of fun, but it can get a little messy, so I recommend you do it on a surface where you can easily wipe away water and paint. Like all my other paintings, you want to imagine a triangle for this. Start by making a small triangle at the top. Use as much water as you can, but not so much you can't retain the tiny triangle shape. And then when you move down, leave some space and make a very long trapezoid next, while making sure you don't go out of the overall triangle shape. You'll see what I mean when I start laying down the colors. And like the small triangle at the top, use as much water as you can without destroying the trapezoids. The reason for this is that after we lay down the colors, we're taking a straw and blowing out air the other side. This will cause the water at the top to run into each other, creating our tree. Similar to the second tree, I wanted this to be a colorful one too. If you choose to do something similar to mine, I recommend you choose colors that will mix well together, such as warm reds and warm yellows. Or choose colors that are close to each other on the color wheel, such as going from red at the tip, orange next, and then yellow. For mine here, I chose the wrong color by accident, but I decided to run with it and see how it would look. While this straw method is easy and fun, it's hard to control, so don't get discouraged if your first one doesn't turn out good. The one you see here was my third try before I was happy with it. So it can take a bit of practice before you're happy with what you have. If you have the shape that you like, but not the vibrancy, you can do what I did, and just go back in and add more color to it until you're happy. So I am pretty much done now, but I'm just going to quickly show the other two I made before this. As you saw, they were not that good, especially the color choices. But once they're done, like all my other videos, you can just glue the paintings onto a pre-cut and scored card. If you want to know more about what that is, I've already talked about it in my previous holiday card videos. They'll be in the description below. For this card, I decided to give it a gold borderline to bring attention to the second painting. As with my other card videos, you don't have to go this extra step, but I wanted to since it looked more complete to me. If you don't have gold paint, use whatever you have on hand, like a gold Sharpie. I'm pretty sure the Sharpie will bleed through the card, but if you're using the watercolor paper, even if it bleeds, it doesn't matter because you're gluing it on a cardstock anyway. And then for the first tree, I didn't do anything around the border because I thought it was fine the way it was. As for the third one, I wrote Happy Holidays with a silver Sharpie. I actually wanted it to be gold, like the other one, but I didn't have any gold Sharpie, so I tried using the silver one. Experiment, right? Well, in retrospect, I think the gold one would have stood out more, but that's fine because I think I made it work with the opal holographic washi tape at the end. It looked pretty neat. Anyway, if you like this video, please hit like and subscribe to the channel to be notified when I have a new video up. Happy holidays and stay warm. Bye.